Hi everyone, I'm Oliver Kovács, a Hungarian composer. I hope you are doing well. Throughout this series, I'll discuss how to tell a story with music. I believe storytelling is a crucial skill for any composer. In this video, I'll break down the process of creating the first piece of music on my concept album. The title of the track is Signal from the Void. I haven't named the album yet, since it's a work in progress. The album tells the story of scientists on Earth who detect a signal from a distant galaxy and decide to build a spaceship to discover its source. It'll be super exciting, so stay tuned. The time signature is 4/4 time, the key is G minor, and the tempo is 85 BPM. I choose the Dorian mode because it conveys an ancient, mystical mood. This feeling is largely due to the following chord pair. If you are unfamiliar with the Dorian mode, check out my music theory video lesson. The link is in the description. In the Dorian mode, there is a major chord on the 4th degree and it sounds mystical and magical. The Dorian mode is often used in fantasy or sci-fi music pieces. As for the orchestration, I incorporated orchestral instruments, synthesizers, and epic drums. This kind of cinematic orchestration sounds big, epic, and majestic. I walk you through the orchestral sections and the other instruments one by one. The pluck synth, the short synthesizer sound in the intro, represents the signal from the void. It's a very important element of the story behind the piece. It starts slowly but gets faster and faster as the signal strengthens. The pluck synth doesn't just get faster, it also plays an increasingly complex melody. I also used an ethereal pad and various bass synths. The pad helps create atmosphere, while the bass synths evoke the darkness of the void, the infinite outer space. The ethereal pad conveys a mysterious vibe. Pads like these are excellent for space-themed music. The first violins provide a kind of counter melody besides the pluck synth, and the second violins follow them. The cellos and double basses accompany each other in an octave doubling, and the double basses play the same line as the bass synth. I think the counter melody is very important here, because while the signal is constantly getting through the space, There is another line of the story with the scientists who build the spaceship itself, so it's a narrative that unfolds on two levels simultaneously. I incorporated French horns and tenor trombones into the piece. These brass instruments have a majestic and bright sound that contributes to the overall texture. Their dramatic quality allows them to express a wide range of emotions, from the triumph of a scientific breakthrough to the feeling of loss or conflict. I used epic bass drums blended with an electronic kick, a super snare patch, and hi-hat like drums. The hi-hat like drums resemble the ticking of a clock, symbolizing the passage of time. The snare enters at the climax, the final breakthrough. The epic bass drums help convey a dramatic and somewhat intense mood. While the pad plays the chord throughout the piece, the listener can clearly perceive the harmonic progression through it. To achieve a more ethereal sound, I voice the pad chords in open position. I strive to use not only basic triads, but also seventh chords for the more complex, subtle result. Here's the entire chord progression. I'd like to show you something interesting. The half-diminished seventh chord can sound strange or unusual on its own, but if it's followed by the right chords, the tension it creates can be resolved. In this specific example, the half-diminished chord is built on the second degree, followed by a major chord on the seventh degree of the key. Finally, it resolves to the tonic. They work perfectly together. The trick is to use a dissonant or unusual chord that leads into something more stable. That's how you create emotional movement. If you'd like a video on how to resolve different kinds of chords, leave a comment below. If you want to tell a story through a piece of music, you should carefully choose the orchestration, tempo, time signature, melody, and chords. Each orchestral section has its unique character that could either enhance the mood or completely ruin the atmosphere you want to achieve. If your goal is to create a majestic or dramatic piece, emphasize the brass section. For a more emotional mood, focus on woodwinds and strings. It's also important how you use your instruments. An orchestral run with woodwinds can sound dramatic and tense, while a soft chord texture played by the brass section can create a peaceful atmosphere. Different kinds of scales and chords evoke different moods. For example, if you aim to create a sorrowful and dark music piece, avoid bright, major scales or upbeat tempos as they can conflict with the intended atmosphere.